Hey guys, Joseph James here once again with your nightly newsletter brought to you by theschooloftrade.com. Today was October 26, 2009. Had a pretty busy morning, but of course before we talk about the trades we took today, I want to remind you guys also our 3 a.m. European session right now is currently suspended due to low volume. Guys, we will go back to trading at 3 a.m. Eastern Time once we start seeing some better volume at that time. I want to remind you guys also that we have a free resource online. Go to our YouTube page, that's /School of Trade. And when you're there, guys, please subscribe to our videos. That we always get the new ones when they're released, and please rate and comment on this video you're watching right now. Our trade room totals for the day, $320 in our pocket today. We took 32 ticks out of the crude market in one trade. One of the biggest trades we've had all month of October on the crude market. Missed a bunch of trades today. This could have easily been $500, $600, $700 here in our pockets this morning, but I'm going to talk a little more about that as we get closer to our trade recap for the morning. Weekly total of 320 and our monthly total now to $7,500, guys. That is more than twice now the amount of our advanced membership. Let's talk about our term of the day today. Term of the day today is price pattern, or a high percentage setup. Now we talk about these price patterns, we talk about these high percentage setups all the time in our trade room. What are these things? What do they mean? Well, they should be predictable and recognizable patterns we see in price action on our chart. They can be bullish or bearish, right? Going up or going down. They could be, of course, continuing a trend or reversing a trend, and they provide us with overall market sentiment. Well, that sentiment actually helps us read the minds of the trader. Now, of course, we use these price patterns most commonly for our entries, for our trade management, and for our exits. So we're looking for bullish price patterns to take a long trade. We'd be looking for bearish price patterns to then exit that trade early, right? Exit that long trade early against our position. So we're going to use these price patterns for entries, management, and exits of our trades. Now, most importantly, though, we're going to watch for these patterns around important levels of support and resistance. So we find a major level of overhead resistance, such as a high of day. We're then going to watch for these price patterns as they develop around those important levels of support and resistance, such as swing highs, swing lows, high of day, low of day, maybe even some Fibonacci clusters and some pivot points. All right, but basically, guys, whatever you're using in your charts as support and resistance, whether it be moving averages, swing highs, open high, low close levels, market profile, pivot points, Fibonacci levels, whatever you're using, guys, locate those important support and resistance levels and then watch for these price patterns. It's as simple and easy as that, guys, and it's very easy, right, to see these patterns on our charts. They're very simple to watch. Now let's talk about some of these price patterns that we actually use in our trading. They're the wave setup, the breaker setup, and the two-step setup. Now, of course, we have almost, more than 10 now in our advanced materials, but these are the three that we focus on the most because they're the highest percentage, and they, of course, have shown us to be the most consistent and robust in our trading room. So we have three patterns: wave, breaker, and the two-step. Let's take a look at these each individually, and then, of course, you can see, right, how these different price patterns could be used in our trading. Well, the wave setup, this price pattern, of course, is a trend continuation pattern that uses the trigger line as being the most important factor. The breaker setup, another trend continuation pattern, uses the swing high or swing low indicator as the most important part of its trade pattern. And the two-step setup, a counter trend trade, right, a counter trend pattern, looks for swing highs and swing lows as the most important part of its entry. Okay, so these different price patterns, right, these different high percentage setups, let's take a look at each one of them. We have the wave pattern first, right, a trend continuation pattern. This, of course, is a wave to the short side. This is going to ask for price to break through a support level and then sell or short the retracement into a falling trigger line. The exact opposite is true for the wave long. Again, it breaks through a level of resistance in this case, and then we buy the pullback to a rising trigger line, right? We buy the pullback to a rising trigger line. Let's keep going. How about the breaker pattern? Another trend continuation pattern. This one doesn't require that trigger line so much. In fact, on this breaker long, we're going to break above this overhead resistance. It will make a swing high level. And remember, those swing highs, that blue line there, that swing high is automatically found for me on my charts already. So I find the swing high. It's automatically found for me. I take the break of that swing high then for our breaker long. Keep moving to the opposite side. And a breaker short, opposite direction here. Same thing. Remember, guys, this red line is one of my auto levels, which means it's going to be found for me automatically. The blue line is part of my swing indicator. So the swing indicator will also find that for you automatically. So no heavy lifting need to be done, guys, to identify these trade patterns. The indicators will do all of it for us. All we have to do is simply be watching for the patterns themselves. So breaker short, of course, we will be selling at the break below this swing low. We'll break below that support level, create a swing low level there in the blue. Once we break back above, we'll then look for the sellers to jump back in and drive this thing back to the downside, breaking below that breaker short. Let's keep moving, guys. Now here's a two-step. This is a two-step long. Now, of course, a two-step pattern is a counter-trend pattern, goes against the short-term trend. So in this case, the short-term trend is down. We saw support hold. It made a swing low, bounced up, made a swing high, and then we break above that swing high. Again, counter-trend trade against the short-term trend. That's our two-step long. Let's keep moving. We, of course, have your two-step short, opposite direction here. Remember, short-term trend against the short-term trend for a two-step. It's a counter-trend trade here. So short-term trend will be up. We, of course, will see that swing high being made. It'll drop back down. See some resistance there from that level of resistance. The sellers will step in, bring it back down. And when I break below that previous swing low there in the blue, I'm then going to qualify for my two-step to the short side. Great recap there, guys, about our different high percentage trade setups, different price patterns that we look for in the room. Now, as always, guys, these, of course, are snapshots. I want to show you this in real time, so come out and join me tomorrow morning in our U.S. session at 7:45 Eastern Time. And, of course, we'll give you guys more information about all these price patterns, how we look for these high percentage setups, the rules associated with it, and how we use these indicators to define them without really any work involved with the trader. Don't forget also, tomorrow's Tuesday, so we open up our room to everybody for a free webinar at 11:30 tomorrow morning. So come out, see us tomorrow morning, 11:30 a.m. Tuesday for a free webinar. And as always, guys, the beginner's course is going to give you guys all information about these pattern setups or indicators and how we use them. Now, guys, let's talk about some of the trades we took today. Now, before we talk about this particular first trade here, which was a nice winner for us here, we saw some very challenging price action this morning in the market. Today was one of those days where we saw about 95% of the volume that we needed. But that missing 5% was enough to get us good-looking patterns, to qualify our rules, but then the confirmation was the last thing that we really never saw before it was too late and we would have had to have chased after the trade. So the bottom line is we had to stick to our rules, remember that we're not always going to be able to get into every single move that comes our way, and if the price action is too slow to get into a trade, we simply can't try and guess. We're not going to hope and pray and predict that if we get into a trade, we'll be able to get, that trade actually moving with good volume. The most of the time today, we were watching trades set up, the pattern set up, the rules lined up, but we didn't see the confirmation to pull the trigger. Now, I missed 1, 2, 3, I think 4 different trades today, so literally, we could have easily been well over $500, $600, $700 here in the room this morning, but we'll show you guys how we got to our 32 ticks here. The first trade here, guys, just after 11 o'clock. Now, we had to wait until 11 o'clock this morning to take our first trade. We open up at 8, right? 8, 9, 10, 11, right? 4 hours later, we're now, of course, getting ready to watch for our first pattern setups. We had to use patience, had to use discipline on this rather sleepy, sluggish Monday morning. Now, 15 minutes past our 11 o'clock was our first trade here. This is a breaker short. Now, remember, breaker pattern, trend continuation pattern. We broke below this 80.68 level there, made that swing low level. Remember, guys, we're going to mark up that swing low. Here's the pattern again, right? Let's take a look at that pattern again. What does the breaker short look like? It looks just like this. Okay, so once again, now that you know what the breaker pattern looks like, let's go back and look at the trade. Okay, 11:15, it broke below that 68 level, marked in that swing low. We got short at 80.60 for our 32 ticks, plus 4, plus 8, and plus 16. Now, this was a great big winning trade here, and we almost had a couple more today, but like I said, right, continue to go through the motions the rest of the morning here. We continue to see price action that would give us great patterns, but then would give us the rules. But before we could pull the trigger, we didn't get any confirmation. And this, of course, was a great example here just before we finished up our day here on the another breaker short here on the pound. This one was just before noontime, and of course we saw a decreasing red pace of the tape. And I exited early on this trade, right? Entry at 63.40. And what happened in this trade? Good example. We got into it. We saw price action literally die on the table. No pace of the tape, no speed, not going anywhere. And I, of course, told everybody in the room, I'm flat. I got out of the trade because we didn't see him go anywhere. And then what happened? It went 20 ticks in my direction. As you can see, the pattern looks gorgeous here on a static chart. But the problem was that inside the trade itself, we didn't get that confirmation. And as always, guys, I'm going to pull that trade off the table if I don't see this thing moving at any time. This one just happened to, of course, go to the downside and clearly was a good illustration of how the day went today. This was our entire morning this morning. We didn't see a lot of real strong defining confirmation to get in those trades. And as always, guys, we're going to show you guys all this in live in real time. Hopefully tomorrow morning we'll see more action. I want to remind you guys, we'll give you a free 3-week trial as part of our trials. Come out and join us free for 3 weeks. We'll be back in the room tomorrow morning at 7:45 Eastern Time. Please rate and comment on this video. And once again, guys, my name is Joseph James. Hope the video helps. We'll see you guys in the room tomorrow morning. Bye-bye for now.